Greetings, I'm Rob Chapman.
And I'm the captain.
And we're here at Andertons.co.uk in the Chill Out Lounge.
We certainly are.
With this beautiful offset Marshall amplificator.
So this is kind of born of a couple of different things. One is the sort of the technology inside was born of some of the little 1 watt amplifiers that Marshall produced in their 50th anniversary in 2012. And the sort of cosmetics, if you like, is born of what Marshall are now able to do in their custom shop.
In England?
In England.
Wow.
Where they can do different sort of graphics on amplifiers and all sorts of stuff. So, what's very cool about this, and the reason it's called offset is simply it's because the logo is not central to the head, it's offset. And it's this very, very cool sort of metal engraved Marshall badge that I'm sure you'll see a close-up of at some point. And bizarrely, when I first saw this, I just thought someone in the custom shop had come up with a new sort of, badge, if you like, for Marshall, which I thought looked really cool. But it's not. It's apparently, if you go back to the really early sort of, between sort of, I think, 62 and 65, where the Marshall logo kind of had several different forms before it went over to the sort of the scripty sort of, Jim's signature type, Marshall logo. And that was one of them.
You can see them in the factory, can't you? Because they have a museum section at the factory.
They do.
You can go there for free and take a look.
You can. In fact, if you're ever anywhere in the world and you ever come to the UK, make a beeline to Milton Keynes, because the Marshall guys actually will take you around and show you the factory, and they have an amazing museum.
Very, very cool.
So the stuff that's sort of slightly unique and different about this, again, as I said, we've got the different logo, we've got a different kind of grill cloth. It's a 1 watt head with a volume which they called loudness and a tone control, and a Celestion 10-inch speaker in the cabinet. All made in the UK, limited edition. I forget how many of these were made, but it was something tiny, like a couple of hundred or something like that.
Tell them the story about Bernie Marsden.
Yeah, I mean, again, we had a Marshall night in Andertons earlier on this year. We invited Bernie Marsden came down, Chris George, which is Marshall's demonstrator, came down, and a chap called Virgil. I forget his surname, but he has an amazing blues band called Virgil and the Accelerators. And they each did their own set. Bernie used this. In fact, I think Bernie actually used this actual one. Chris George used the little Slash SL5 amplifier, and Virgil had a DSL head and cab, Marshall DSL head and cab. And, technically speaking, Virgil had all the licks, monstrous player. You got, in fact, Google Virgil and the Accelerators, he's a very cool young British blues guy. Chris George did this amazing kind of Slash sort of vibe with his Les Paul and that. And Bernie, who again is just classic blues chops, nothing fancy there, plugged into this, no pedals, his PRS SE signature model, mic'd up, best sound of the night. Best sound of the night.
You've got to love it when that happens, haven't you?
I know. So anyway, that's enough talking. Let's go plug it in the video room. So just going to show you guys the volume difference between the 1 watt and the 0.1 watt mode. So 1 watt, you'll see I cannot talk over the top of whilst it's playing. So. And if I engage the 0.1 watt mode, which is a little button on the back here, I'm sure you'll be able to you'll hear me. Hello? Hello, can you hear me? You probably can. That's how quiet this is.
Well, as you can tell, we absolutely thoroughly enjoyed that.
That's an amazing sound. And I tell you, it might look very simple, and the price might put a few of you off. It's absolutely a kind of a British-made collectible piece. So
860 Imperial British credits of the realm.
So feel free to comment that you think that you'd never pay that for a 1 watt amplifier and everything, and that's cool because I know a lot of you won't. But again, you've got to remember that this is not trying to. This isn't trying to appeal to a guy who's buying an amp on a budget. This is trying to appeal to someone that wants to buy into all that kind of martial heritage and just wants a killer sounding amp.
To me personally, the lower volume tone is so much better than the higher volume tone.
Really kind of kicked ass, didn't it? So it's a great little amp. If you want to read the spec, see what the valve complement is and all that kind of stuff on there, dive onto the Andertons website.
Also worth saying that it's incredibly light, and this thing is, portable.
Yeah,
take it around to a gig.
Absolutely.
Destroy your local pub.
But 100%, these are going to end up in people's guitar rooms and their living rooms, or wherever they keep their kind of guitar collection. It's going to look uber cool.
It's finished by R. Daubney.
R. Daubney.
Thank you, R. Daubney.
Thanks, R. Daubney. He works next to.
No, he doesn't, Lee.
We had a teacher when I was at school. His name was. He may even be watching this because he played guitar. His name was Robert Saul. Swear to God, his name was Robert Saul.
Well, I think we should leave the viewers on that particular note.
Cool.
I've been Rob.
And I've been the captain.
Bye.